Here's Buddy Matthews, a picture of him twisting his ankle at the Grand Slam scam. He said he crushed and destroyed his foot or his ankle or whatever. Adam Copeland says there's too many haters and experts criticizing everything in wrestling. He says, it's gone to this place of microanalyzing, pulling everything apart and then rating things. And it's like, man, when I went to wrestling shows, it was just to have fun. It's like the whole discourse recently with Jey Uso. I was like, the crowd really seemed to like it. Why are you complaining? There's always going to be people who just complain to complain. Yeah, because they're probably not happy in their own lives. Just have fun. When did it become this thing where we need to judge it like the Olympics? When Mark started giving stars and the wrestlers started trying to get stars in Cope. That's when that happened. AEW cleared $1.3 million in gross sales this week for AEW Grand Slam, with an estimated 11,000 tickets distributed at an average price of $119.50. So there you go. They made a third of Moxley's salary. That's good. So here's video of Buddy rolling his rolling. What? Dude, I've done that to both sides, and it hurts so bad.
What's the boss on that ankle, buddy?
Now, was that because of the janky ring? I don't know. I've beaten that whole thing to death. Everyone has. And we had the man who caused the chaos himself on the show. Awful wrestling. So, yeah, let's get into this. Moving along here. Here was the merch. So, but why Alyssa says there are real criticisms to be made about the logistics of Grand Slam Australia that aren't being highlighted due to the whole ring debacle. Merch. The solitary stand was open for 1 hour before several items were completely wiped out by the time the doors opened. It was bare. So you go there, not even enough merch.
I don't know!
WWE's Rhea Ripley shares photos of Buddy Matthews both with and without crutches following Grand Slam Australia. Ain't no roly-poly ankles going to keep us down. Let the honeymoon commence. So they're on honeymoon right now. And yeah, they gave him a crutch. He'll probably just tough through it, but his ankle's probably swollen. He's probably got a compressor on there. And he's like, I'm going to go get drunk on my honeymoon. And Josh Alexander, why Josh Alexander chose AEW over WWE. Now, we still don't know for sure, but I'm going to click on Ringside News, and they're craziest. But it's just based off like Meltzer saying, he took the one that offered him the most money, and that's likely AEW. So Meltzer, I broke it down last show. He stooged it in his own way. He's like, well, I mean, I don't know for sure, but he probably saw in there, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, cough, cough, Tony Khan told me. So, yeah, he'll likely end up being there. So Tony Khan was getting booed in Brisbane. Then he said Grand Slam isn't the last time AEW would be touring Australia, that they would return there, and got cheered instantly. Yeah, as I broke down, because they're rejecting Tony Khan, but they're accepting pro wrestling and the wrestlers, as we all do. The reason I'm watching this right now is I support wrestling, dude. So, yes, they're cheering that. You got every Australian wrestling fan that there is to show up to that show. So be grateful. Do it again. Don't get up next time. And Ricochet's like, his fans are idiots. Now, he's in the ring right now wearing Nana's robe that he stole. He's been doing great work. I'm about to put it over here, and they're going to throw it in my face, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut because this promo's actually been pretty goddamn good. And, like Ricochet spitting out the Trill burger, I thought was funny. But, yeah, it's not because fans are idiots. It's because they reject Tony Khan. So, speaking of bad merch, here's the Death Riders' latest T-shirt, bro. Real talk, man. Where's my Price is Wrong noise? I can't find it. That's crazy, bro. So, this is like when Kanye West... And it's a white shirt, like White Pool Combat Clan. They just went to Sport Check or Foot Locker or whatever, Walmart. They get Walgreens you live by, right? Whatever's closest to the house, they get they get a stack of white T-shirts. You know what I mean? If you buy 10 or more, you get them all for $5, and they just put a little thing on the bottom. It's funny. This is like when Kanye West tried to sell T-shirts with holes in them for $500, This is just a straight, like, who would buy that? That's crazy. So this was really irked me because Darby Allin is laughing at, Legreca and Nick Nemeth on Busted Open having a good time and laughing at AEW, whatever, as people do. Let's just listen to their criticism here.
Kyle Fletcher, right? Got to get him involved in the match because he's from Australia. So nothing's going to be better than your baby faces and your heels and everybody cheering your heels because Kyle Fletcher is from Australia. Does anybody in that company think? Like, do they think? Dear God, nobody knows what they're doing. They don't know. I've defended. I'm on my knees right now. I'm on my freaking knees. I have defended this company for years, for months, for weeks, for days. I've tried, but does any thought go into this at all?
So, I mean, he's melting down. He does that for reaction, you know, like it gets attention. So they're booing the shit out of him. Good stuff. And I'm glad they proved him wrong there. I mean, I'm not the biggest Legreca mark. You guys know that. Will Ospreay goes, apologize. And it's like, bro, apologize for having a take? Look at all of these people, too. There's a bunch of people like Death Riders, WWE Dick Riders, apologize, high IQ. No one gives a F, Will, AEW Skin Guard. Okay, so more people jumped in. But when Will first wrote this, it was like, so Dave, are you going to admit that you were wrong, loser? Admit he was wrong? Like, why would it be an admittance to be like, oh, I had a take about some wrestling? Like, I get the point Dave was trying to make, but he's bad at like applying this. I'm not a big Dave guy, Dave Legreca, you know? So yeah, man. I personally think that being like apologize, that's moisty, man, to like demand an apology for what? Just laughing at for being wrong about a take. So you put yourself out there like in other sports, people make takes and predictions or whatever, and you don't get clowned for it. Even when people predict like, okay, the Fantastic Four movie trailer came out. People are like, oh, it's so that they can get to the main universe. Okay, what if that isn't the case? Is it like, dumbass, you're wrong? It's just like, no. Okay, so apologize. Like, no, that's not an apologize thing to apologize over. And shout out Nick Nemeth for holding business down, too. He's like, I'm not apologizing for. And Dave did apologize. He's like, I'm sorry. It was not appropriate. It's like, man, shut the up. So Awful Wrestling goes on AEW's Twitter and is like, does your guys' merch store even work? Look at this. Here's some scrolling. He's clicking live, like on there. None of their shirts are even found on the store. Look at that. That's crazy. Like none of it's even there. You guys get the point. What's going on there? Really, really odd. Okay, so Dax FTR tweets this out. I love this match so much. The ring was a different ring than their usual one. They booked from an outside source. Should I change my opinion on the match? Or will it make it so I can't feed my family? I have a wife. I gotta feed her, you know? I really like this match, but then so I just quote tweeted this and I was like, why'd he delete? Because like Dax FTR deleted this for some reason. And I have no idea why, right? So probably because it's the Federation. So Alfred Konowa, here is his take. My good friend, this is nasty. He talks about Kenny Omega being the final boss of the mini title tournament for the title he doesn't have, which is hilarious booking. Let's take a look at friend of the show, Alfred Konowa's little video.
Just when you thought AEW's booking couldn't get any worse, they booked a mini tournament for the international title. Get this, Orange Cassidy will face Roderick Strong. The winner will face Takeshita for the international championship. Then, whoever wins that match gets to face Kenny Omega at Revolution. What? Man, I live in LA and I'm not going to that. Why is Kenny Omega the final boss of this equation? Shouldn't the champion be the final boss? Kenny Omega isn't the champion of anything except Dave Meltzer's wet dreams. If Kenny Omega loses this match, what does that say about Kenny Omega? If Kenny Omega wins, what does that say about that title after Omega was being booked to be more important than the international championship? Like, what the? Just when you thought AEW's book.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense. Obviously, Kenny's going to win, so it's just predictable dreck anyways. It's like, who gives a... This makes no sense. Ricky Starks, now known as Ricky Saints, says there were veterans in AEW that stuck their nose in his creative business that shouldn't have happened. And if they had a problem with him saying that, they know how to contact him. He also mentioned that CM Punk leaving seemed to be when things started to fall apart for him, but there wasn't an exact moment that caused it, rather a storm of situations that led to him not being used. So basically, Jericho and Edge, or what? People are saying Edge, but for sure Jericho.
You what?
Just ruining Ricky Starks' good time, bud. And yeah, everyone's speculating. It's obviously Jericho, some veterans, who knows? It's got to be them, maybe Edge. But Stark's exact quote was, you could say it was Punk leaving and things kind of fell apart. Absolutely. I probably agree with you on that, all right? Or you could say is that Ricky didn't play the politics well enough. All right, for sure. There's so many things you can say. What I can say for myself is that when I got hurt in March, that was it. I never came back. I will say this. There are some people who stuck their nose in my creative business that shouldn't have happened. Veterans, and that's it. I'll leave it at that. And if they got a problem with me, they got my number and text me about it. I think what it was is if it didn't work for their creative, then someone had to get the boot. That's how I see it. Damn, Jericho. No, but like, who is it? Even like the Bucks maybe, or no? FTR. It was me because I had to feed my family. Right? Who was it? Shout out Ricky. Ricky Saints on where things went wrong for him in AEW. We just covered that. So moving along. AEW announces that they moved Double or Nothing from Vegas. And the sentiments out there like WWE bullied them out of Vegas. And that Double or Nothing's going to Glendale, Arizona. Is gambling even legal out in the desert? Glendale, they got a lot of there's a lot of like MMA action out there. Yeah, Double or Nothing's out in the desert. This casino gambling theme thing. And Alfred Cunningham says Double or Nothing is officially running from Las Vegas, as they should, with WrestleMania coming to Sin City. If WWE even breathes anywhere near London, they'll announce All In for the Manchester Central Convention Complex in the UK. So Collision got 502K viewers on average. Just watch how ratings matter today. Thanks, NBA. Exactly. So now ratings matter because they got a huge lead in. Okay? So Tony Khan goes, our last show, Grand Slam Australia on Saturday, was one of my favorite events ever. It did one of the biggest Collision ratings ever on TNT. The past 4, Jacksonville, Huntsville, Houston, Brisbane are my favorite run of Collisions ever. See you for Dynamite tonight. So yeah, Dave Meltzer, we'll cover him later, but they did a 502 with a .21. Now, that number's hugely inflated because they lost 700,000 people from NBA turning off to the end of the show. So again, it just doesn't really matter because next week they're going to get 300,000 again. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but ratings, of course, are going to matter. The overall matters. The key demo matters. That's all going to matter now this week because they did a good number and good for them. I'm glad people got to tune in and see Omega and doing their thing in that crazy ass tag match, right? At the same time, though, it just means the show lost like 700,000 people is the goddamn problem. And Dave Meltzer words it like it's because of Ospreay and Omega got 1 million, of course. Not because they're in the first segment. So you can't play that game. They used to try that with Orange Cassidy. They put him in the first segment every show for like 30 shows in a row. Then everyone's like, well, he's the top draw. No, he's not. The opening of the show is the top draw. So again, WWE's losing all the ratings don't even matter. Just enjoy wrestling. Ratings are going to matter a whole bunch. A whole bunch, man. Here is Meltzer said what is like, awesome to hear, boss. I was getting really worried that the most recent thing you've done wasn't your favorite thing ever you've done since the last favorite thing ever you've done since the last favorite thing ever you've done. Fall down, get back up, fall down, get back up, rough. And Tony Khan, he's responding to Tony Khan's tweet of like, this was the best event ever, my favorite ever. And so Meltzer said what? Usually he doesn't even barb at Tony too hard either, but he's like, wow, I'm really glad you let me know that your newest favorite thing is more favorite than your last favorite thing.